right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
I will.
Yeah. So excited to be back on stage for my favorite presentation of the year, Zeta Live. And as you all know, today is a revolutionary day, not just for Zeta, but also for our prospects and our customers and our investors that are here to learn more about the company. But we are all in the midst of something much bigger. We are seeing a revolutionary era in our lives that's transforming virtually everything we do. But this revolution in digital marketing did not begin with algorithms, as many of us think about. I remember in 2012 when Chris and I were working on machine learning algorithms. But it began with a 393-word message long before that. It was back in 1978, the month and year that I was born, that a salesman from the Digital Equipment Corporation, who remembers that company? Raise your hand. Great. He sent a 393-word message to 400 people in ARPANET, marketing 6 new products. Now, that email had no unsubscribe. It had no personalization, but it generated $13 million in sales. And the entire era of digital marketing was born. This is where it started. This is where I started, too. Now, back in 1997, I was a pretty awkward freshman in college at Cornell, and Amazon launched collaborative filtering. If you bought this, you might also like that. And that entered an entirely new era in marketing again. They also launched single-click checkout. You didn't have to enter your details when you're completing a transaction. How cool is that? Right? Remove the friction. And for the next 25 years plus, data-driven marketing has driven what drives us. It's driven Zeta, it's driven companies that come before us, all the way from that first Amazon invention. But 2025 is the start of something very new. This is my son. His name is Jai, and yes, it's not lost on me that you can't spell Jai without AI. Thank you for laughing at that joke. Jai was born on August 25th. And when when my wife was pregnant with Jai, I was faced with a pretty tough decision. I was very busy at work, and I had to choose the blue pill or the red pill. So the blue pill that was offered to me was, here's 8 hours of e-learning. Go take these courses and learn what you can. And I would have not remembered anything. The red pill, on the other hand, was me going to ChatGPT and asking a very simple question. Tell me the top 50 things I need to know about newborn care and safety, put them in a document so I can print them and put them on my desk. A pivotal moment for me, actually, in the care of Jai, to understand what was happening. And in marketing, we also have this crazy blue pill that we've been stuck with for so long. Data-driven has been looking backwards. This pipeline you're seeing here of moving from data to dashboards to interpretation to strategy to execution, it just takes way too long. And I like this expression that data-driven has become hindsight-driven, because it really has. It's time for a new revolution. And what is that? That is the age of Zeta Answers. And you saw earlier this year, we launched Answers as a framework, and I'm going to show you a lot of examples of the amazing work our team has done to bring Answers to life. But the big idea here, and the starting point for an even bigger idea, is that Answers is the setup for what is to come. And it's moving our world from one that is data-driven and looking backwards to one that is answers-driven and looking forward. And we want to enable that for all of you. Now, many of you in the room that are customers use our data day in and day out to augment what you do with your own workflows. These are some recent benchmarks. I presented at Investor Day yesterday, and they all have the same question: is data the moat? What's driving AI in this next era? In the last 3 months, we did some testing on some customer data internally. Our data is driving 30 to 40% increases in prospects, 50% more reductions in CPA, 10 to 20% higher conversion rates, and 10 to 20% increases in lifetime value. So if you're not seeing these results, contact your account manager and let's get on it, okay, first of all. It's very important to me that you actually see these results. The super graph we have built is the underpinning of answers. And it moves AI forward from being commodity models to category leadership that you should all be feeling in your day-to-day lives. Now, I'm not going to steal Chris's thunder. He's got some very exciting things to talk about in this space. But as we dig deeper into answers and the super graph, I often get the question as to why is it actually driving performance? So the first thing is context. When you know more about the customer, when you can see outside of your four walls, you can deliver a better experience. Our data cloud has been building data around identities for years now. We've seen 90% of the US population or more, and that also gives us the view of ground truth. And what that means is that when we look at a situation, an experience, a campaign, we know what drives to hallucinations versus what drives to outcomes. You need to be able to actually use ground truth data to prevent mistakes. A lot of costly mistakes just happen because you're not using the right data set to understand what might happen. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And this is the flywheel. It's compounding because better signals create better experiences, which inevitably create better signals. And that makes the lives of the marketers we work with much easier. So as we dig into answers more, the key thing to remember is that it really improves every single part of marketing, from strategy to experience delivery to verticals. And I'm going to take you through a number of these innovations that we've recently launched or that are coming in Q4 that we can't wait to make available to you. The first one is the Executive Intelligence Hub. Imagine one tool you can go to that looks across all Zeta data, so every aspect of data we have, and gives you daily recommendations on the key priorities that you should be focusing on across acquire, grow, and retain in all places. It also gives you intelligence around customers, prospects, competitors, and market. So this is an executive tool for your management team, for your leadership, for your CMO, to keep track of how the performance with Zeta is going. And it leverages all of Zeta's data cloud into one environment for you. Answers that drive commerce. We are really excited to announce a partnership with Fiserv, and we are combining our identity graph with pieces of theirs to drive incredibly powerful solutions in commerce. These are some of the types of questions we're going to be able to answer. What is driving my brand's performance? Show me my average sale price versus my competitors. Did my target audience spend, and how much did they spend after they received marketing? We're going to see over 300 million credit card transactions a month across 90 million people. It's going to be part of the Zeta Identity Graph, and it's going to be made available directly to you. As part of our Commerce Cloud strategy, we are launching retail diagnostics. What I have found is that many times as a marketer, you don't even know the right question to ask, right? Even with the agents today, you have to start with something. Retail diagnostics flips that on its head. We tell you the questions that are important from your retail perspective, and then you can dig deeper into acquire, grow, and retain. You can see how you're doing versus your competitors, and then you also have the ability, and probably most importantly, to go deeper in conversation. So you can actually introspect the data, you can start having questions about the data, you can manage it as if you were working with a consultant that's waiting for you 24/7 around retail data that we are seeing. This is an example of creating a report directly by working with a conversational interface. Whatever you have been doing for measurement no longer works in the modern world. We need to be able to measure across owned and paid. We need to be able to see into social and put it all together into one place. And LLMs will become a channel too at some point for us. Zeta has really invested in bringing unified omni-channel measurement directly into the platform. If you're not using it, you should, again, contact your account manager and we should get you set up on this because we have seen more demand around measurement this year than in all the years I've been at Zeta combined. And this is really driving a different view of what drives consumers to convert. So make sure you're in line with our new measurement solutions as well. We are also making great strides in CPG. We've expanded to cover 100% of major retailers across the US. We have actually included intelligence summaries at the top of the views you can see around CPG. A little hard to see on the screen here. And probably most importantly here, in a similar vein to what we're doing with retail and commerce, you have the ability to introspect the data. You can start asking questions about why people are converting. What should you be doing about it? Again, having a consultant available for you at your fingertips. Another amazing answers capability coming to life. Social influence. Tell me the 5 people you hang out with, and I will tell you who you will become. You've probably heard this expression. Targeting an individual is not enough in many capacities. You want to be able to target their friends, their coworkers, their colleagues. Bring it all together. Circles of Influence is a new tool that allows you to expand targeting in an entirely new way. If I'm buying a new pair of shoes, I'm looking at what Monberg's wearing. Actually, we're both looking at what Roman's wearing, to be honest. And you'll see Roman's outfit in just a little bit. But the circle of influence is so important in modern day marketing as you triangulate, trying to get someone to do something. And this is also being enabled in the platform, and we have several test customers that are using it today. Answers that boost discovery in LLM search. How many of you have searched ChatGPT for something today? I'm seeing some hands. It's probably all of you, at least in the last week. We have brought visibility metrics in terms of how you rank in different LLMs directly into the platform. But it's not just about visibility. It's about using Zeta data, our data on your best customers, to inform the types of questions that you want to rank for within the LLMs to drive more traffic to your website. You want to get the highest engaged users to come to your website and the ones that are going to spend the most with your brand. And our visibility tool and monitoring tool and improvement tool around generative engine optimization is like no other that exists in the ecosystem. So we're really excited to bring this to you. And this is going to be a continuous evolving area for all of us, for retail, for publishing, and so forth. But now you can do more directly within the LLMs. Answers that provide foresight. Last year on this stage, I introduced a tool called Leading Indicators. Think of it as like a time machine. If you look back, what are all the small nuanced signals that someone did leading to a conversion? Not audiences, but really small nuanced signals. Some may be intuitive and some may not be intuitive. Now, this has driven major performance for one Fortune 100 tech company. You can see it boosted their audience size by 97%, conversion rate by 4.3x, and 4.2x lower CPA. So it's working. And we decided this year to expand that time machine through journey pathing. So now you can be able to go to your CFO and say, look, we expose this percentage of our audience to marketing and this percent not. These are the channels we used. Let me show you the incremental performance that it drove across owned and paid media. You can shine a spotlight on your marketing efforts, and you can understand exactly what is working, what is not working, and you can demonstrate it directly through the platform. Really excited to introduce this to you as well, as it's an extension of the time machine that we launched last year. Now, I like the expression, AI is the new UI, if you haven't heard it. And that's because everyone is looking for experiences and dashboards and visualizations that match their style. We are entirely relaunching the Opportunity Explorer, which I'm sure all of you use if you're using Zeta data. And we're making it easier to navigate, more bespoke for your vertical, and more integrated with the data that matters for your vertical. So you will see a new rollout through Q4 into Q1 of your interaction path with Opportunity Explorer. It's going to be entirely new, and it surfaces more AI directly out of the box for you as well. Now, of course, we have our friends from Snowflake here at the front. Where are you? Raise your hands. All right. We have deepened our partnership with Snowflake. So last year, we launched the Zeta Media Engine. It was a tool to basically bring in data into the Zeta marketing platform in a privacy-compliant clean room that was pre-embedded with Zeta data and Zeta identity. The use case we're seeing now, though, is when a retailer comes to us or a brand comes to us and says, you know what, I don't just want to use my data, I want to use 4 of my partners' data, I want to use Zeta data, I want to use Zeta's identity graph, and I want to put it all together so Zeta can activate against some combined intelligence. So collaboration has become a big part of how the media engine is moving forward. If you are stuck in governance hell with your CIO, come back to us. Let us enable you on the media engine, and it will be an unblock for you and your teams. It's working really, really well. Can't say Zeta Global without the word global. We have a lot of data internationally, but we've been very focused on the US. For the first time, really, in my time here, we are really going to start to invest in global assets, starting with the UK, where we are going to build out very similar capabilities to what you can get in the US for those regions. An identity graph, a PII spine, a signal graph, intelligence, answers into what's next. And the what's next, I'm going to wait for Chris to introduce. But it's a big part of our strategy around expansion to make more geographies available to brands that operate in the US and want to be external, or brands that are just outside the US to start with. Now, answers are just the beginning of this marketing revolution. And I like to give one example. Who here has purchased an audience from a data store as part of a marketing campaign? Any operators in here? I see some hands going up. So when you buy an audience, let's say you're buying an audience in telco, and you want to layer it onto your data or something like that. You have no idea if those people are positive or negative. You don't know the sentiment of those audiences. You don't know if they're about to churn from their provider or they're about to start a new plan with their provider. So we have introduced the idea of sentiment into Zeta audiences so you can treat people that are favorable or unfavorable towards a category differently. This is enabled by NLP. It's enabled by our LLMs internally. And this is going to bring a whole new type of audience to the market today. And it's really enabled by a lot of the work that's happening outside of Zeta too, like in OpenAI and Claude. But as I mentioned, answers are only the beginning of this marketing revolution. We as a company and as a group of individuals that work in marketing need to go further. And really the destination is not about tools. It's not about answers. It's about building a platform that embodies this idea of wisdom. This is the destination. So if you think of where we started from data. We moved to intelligence. We moved to answers. The next step for all of us communally is having a platform that embodies wisdom. And I could not be more excited to introduce my partner in crime of so many years, Monberg. Thanks.
Give it up for Neej. So Neej and I are best friends. We've worked together for a long time. And my heart is warmed by his dad jokes, always. And I imagine him sitting quietly with his wife, going through baby names, and coming across Jai, and thinking about the AI joke he's going to put on stage this year. He nailed it. All right, so I will jump right in. I'm going to take you through a path of our journey. Starting with what got us here today, we're going to talk about the foundation in AI systems that have been hard-earned. Second, we're going to jump into... That's not quite right. Second, we're going to jump into where we are today with impossible products that I think at one time we all thought were impossible. And last, I'm going to talk about where we're going, and I'm going to introduce this idea of Gen UI, which I think is the biggest thing to happen in enterprise software since we moved to the cloud. So every line of code, every integration, every idea that we've been building, it's about new standards. And we're writing the new standards for enterprise AI. That really starts with the foundation. So I'm going to start where Neej left off. He said, wisdom is the destination of every revolution. But every revolution starts with a ton of frustration. People get pent up, they're limited, they're held back. It's not what they want. And software asks us to conform to them, to it. We have to work inside its constraints, its timelines, its data models, and marketing. The paradox is this, is that marketing clouds were supposed to fix all of that. They're supposed to set us free and work better and bring all of the data together so it's available and have things like identity. But it's too slow. I might even say it's just too dumb. It doesn't have enough intelligence in it. At Zeta, we've built a lot of wisdom over the years. And that wisdom's been hard-earned, but it wasn't built out of obedience and trying to be like everybody else. It was forged through building and breaking and building again. And so we did. We broke the pattern. We're not building another tool. We're rewriting the standards for how intelligence goes into action. And as we both said a few times, we worked together for a while. Zeta bought our company in 2017. We were still working on it. And what came next? It's 2019. I sat at town hall and started to talk to our team about where we're going as a company. And I'm going to share a short clip with everybody.
The estimated cost to reach your lookalike audience on CTV is $4.50, or 50% higher than your acquisition goal. But the projected LTV is 4 times greater. Would you like me to queue up this campaign for your review?
Yes, please.
So we knew that marketing was going to be conversational. And I think a lot of us hoped it would be, but Zeta, through that hard-earned wisdom and anticipating how things had to be built, we were already planning for it. And I think this was November of 2019. Fast forward to 2021, and we had the courage and conviction to hang our literal banner of data plus AI equals intent, thanks to the very good thinking of the bright man standing over there, David A.I. Steinberg. 18 months later, the world kind of became unraveled. ChatGPT launched, and all the software companies in the world were saying, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? This is so crazy. It's going to change things forever, but I don't know how. And they'd call us, and we said, no, we've been preparing for this for a long time. And as with all things, fortune favors the prepared. Fast forward to 2025, and we really were solving the AI enterprise's biggest problems. Steve Gerber and a lot of us talk about the replacement cycle that's happening with marketing software, all software right now. And that means that we need faster customer onboarding. And we see it every day right now. Zeta continues to grow, and we get more customers. They have expectations to do it faster. And I'll share a case study of this later. Second, we need to eke more margin out of our business. Every one of you needs more margin. It's the CFO, the CMO, the CEO level conversation is how do we be more effective? And we have to transform our operations. We do this at Zeta. We know you're doing it inside your organizations. Next, and something I talk a lot about, is developer experience. And our team, Bharat and Patrick, and so many other people have done an incredible job making Zeta the gold standard for any engineer that wants to understand how to transform their career, the way they work with their teams, through AI tools. And the results are undeniable. It's faster innovation day in and day out. And most importantly, we need better customer outcomes for a lot of you that are in the crowd today. Thank you. And I should mention, you guys are heroes for standing in this hot room in the back for such a long presentation. I know it's a long day. So this aligns to how we think about our business. We've got several different initiatives. We've got Align, which is about the onboarding. It's a whole workflow. You can see a demo of it. We have Amplify, which is about HR, sales, finance, support, every single team changing the way they work with AI. And I'm confident most of you are going through the same thing. And Ascend. But most importantly to us today, and what David unveiled this morning, is Athena. And the foundations that have gone into Athena have let us do something transformational. And I introduced Zoe earlier. Athena is much, much, much bigger than Zoe ever could have been. It's more personal. It helps with individual and team productivity. So you don't necessarily build a revolution off of a foundation. It's really what you build on top of that foundation that changes the world. And with that, I want to invite my good friend, Roman Gunn, up to the stage to share a little bit. I'll go through this. We'll jump right into it. All right. I was a couple slides premature, but Roman is ready.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Roman.
One of the things y'all may not know about me is I grew up in Brooklyn before it was cool. And one of the things that you find out living in New York City is that things change fast, right? Neighborhoods flip. Forgotten corners become trendy neighborhoods, right? And what is that called? Gentrification. One of the things that we believe at Zeta is that the agentification of SaaS platforms is coming. That means that platforms will become revitalized, all due to the power of agents. Let me show you how to do that with Athena. Hey, Athena, what's my total marketing spend?
Your total marketing spend is $569.05 million, driving 69.10 million transactions across online and in-store sales. Let me know if you want to dive deeper into competitor share of wallet or other insights.
That's a great idea. Let me see my competitor share of wallet.
The competitive landscape shows a healthy and growing consumer appetite across key retailers, with BrandX's peer group collectively driving strong revenue momentum into the holiday season. There is a balanced mix of value and premium baskets.
Cool. But what channels are driving these results, Athena?
Here's the breakdown. Search and display are leading the pack. They're outperforming across all media channels. The next step, optimize and scale those channels. Just keep an eye on marginal ROI to ensure your spend lines up with revenue efficiency. That's how you drive better results.
Awesome. Speaking of results, can you build me a report that focuses on my daily campaigns?
Your programmatic campaign dashboard is ready. We're currently looking at the temporal trends. Let me know if you'd like help interpreting the insights or if you want to drill down further.
Well, it looks like we're focused on impressions. I'm much more interested in conversions. Can you update that, please?
The daily trends chart is now updated to show conversions. You'll see reach and conversions side by side. Let me know what other insights you need.
What I'm really interested in is the future. Can you show me my next best actions? I want to know what to do next.
Do you want to see the optimized channel budget recommendation?
Sure do.
Implementing the optimized channel budget recommendation is expected to raise revenue from $1.56 million to around $1.59 million. Our analysis shows that increasing email spend by 10%, increasing mobile by 50%, slightly trimming CTV by 3.2%, and cutting social by 37.5%, while leaving search unchanged, should yield more clicks,
All right,
better
you've
conversion.
convinced me. Let's apply this. Let's activate this rec.
Done. The optimized channel budget recommendation is now applied. You're on track for higher revenue, better conversions, and improved lifetime value.
Awesome. Can I see the impact of all my recommendations on my spend and revenue?
Here's the impact. Your projected revenue is set to rise from about $2.72 million to roughly $3.03 million. That's a solid lift. Any other metrics you want to explore?
And that's Athena, everybody. A platform driven by context, intent, and user alignment. Ultimately, this is why AI is the new UI. Thank y'all.
Yeah. Good job, buddy. That's the power of a foundation built for intelligence. It doesn't just give you intelligence, it anticipates your questions, drives insight to action. I shared the same, a similar demo with investors yesterday. It was not a room full of marketers, and the cloud was not nearly as loud, so thank you. And thanks to Roman. I mean, the team is absolutely incredible here. And I want to talk about other impossible products that are behind this. That demo you can see out there, it's real. I know it's hard to tell these days. Everybody's talking about AI, and you read a Wall Street Journal article, and you think that the guy next to you is doing more than you are. I find our best approach is to show, not tell, but here I am up on stage trying to do both simultaneously. Introduce yourself to Roman and the rest of the team and learn more. All right, so next chapter, impossible products, as we call them. We've talked about new standards, and this is a new paradigm. In design, there's a concept called an affordance. Like when you see a doorknob, you turn it, and you expect door to open, not like a trap door to open. You expect to be able to walk through a door. We have to rethink the affordances of all of our platforms, and it's something that we have to do with our customers, with our buyers, because their expectations are changing sometimes faster, sometimes slower than the way technology changes. So we'll jump into some of these. On the left, I'm going to take you through a day in the life of a marketer. This is pretty common day, week, month type projects you need to go through. And create a data foundation. You have to do planning, forecasting, make sure your plan looks good. And you go do a bunch of creative and campaign creation, and then measure. On the right, I'm going to talk about some of our new standards. I'm going to talk about how we're moving from legacy to new AI-powered solutions. So I'm going to start with data foundation. We talk about being fragmented and moving to foundational. And there are great data systems out there, like our Snowflake friends that have an amazing technology. But companies inevitably have fragmented data still. Maybe their identity data is through a partner, not sitting in a database. Or maybe they've got some real-time data coming from their system that's stored somewhere else that hasn't made it where it needs to be yet. Dealing with that has made it really hard to get great outcomes. And so we want to make sure that whether it's through the ZME, which Neej shared earlier, or it's through better data pipelines, better connectivity, or it's through agents helping our customers transform in real time, we're delivering the right solution. So I'm going to tell a story about a retail CTO. This is a very real story that was worried about onboarding because they've been through migration fever and it burnt them out. They were told it was going to take like a year at the time, and it ended up taking 2 years and failing, which is why they ended up back in RFP. And probably a lot of you have seen that story play out before. So this is the new data standard. Obviously, it starts with connectivity. This is the way it should be. There should always be a way to get data in and out of a platform. But we've built Align, and it's software that has a workflow with it. And every one of these workflow steps gets agents. Here, somebody wants to move a Salesforce Marketing Cloud campaign. They literally drop an image of it, of the audience. Our platform understands that image, and it generates the exact same audience inside of Zeta's taxonomy. And what's hard with that is that you don't want to be an expert in these deep taxonomies. It's just too much for an individual to know. By using Zeta, you'd get it done, and then you can edit it. And I'll come back to this. At the end, it was in a UI that you could change things. You need humans in front, you need technology in the middle, and you need humans in the back. It's just where we are as an economy right now. I was asked yesterday, how far are we until AI can do the whole thing? We're there now. But it's not what any of you actually want. You want to build trust with the AI. You want to have a journey with AI, and you want to make the AI better. And we believe that each of you can make these AI systems better. Next, moving from data foundation to planning. A lot of marketers start with a hypothesis, and they've learned how to build these hypotheses over time. Maybe they've done some data research. Neej talked about answers, which I do believe is the next era of all of this. I'm going to talk you through a travel company that had a strategist that does media planning. And some of you may know this story, but that strategist is the one that's working like 18 hours a day and not sleeping. And it's unreasonable. And the outcome of their work has just gotten worse and worse over time. And so they were talking with their boss, and they said, well, we should be able to use AI to make your life better. She said, can you just hire more people? And she got the no. We had a goal of making her more effective. And these plans turn into a new decision for the organization. So we've got AI Studio. It's got agents you can create. It also has these workflows. And I'll show you the media workflow here. It starts with a simple prompt about allocating budget for a new product launch. The agents start to do the heavy lifting for you, whether it's audience definition or channel strategy or adjacent audiences or performance and analytics, creating the campaign or doing QA. This can be done in moments, something that would traditionally take a planner days or weeks, and more often than not, it takes a whole team. This is about moving faster so that we can get to outcomes faster. And if you've been to a Zeta Live before, I've talked about getting data and technology to move at the speed of business. We're finally making huge leaps there. Third, we're going to move from planning to forecasting. Forecasting is about building trust. We just want to know that what we're doing is not going to get us fired along the way. And what if forecasting wasn't about just a model? It was about simulations. As we move from single channel strategies to finally most marketers are working across, at least aspiring to work across multiple channels, we have the challenge of building trust in all of those, because a CMO that might have been very email heavy that wants to explore in social or CTV, it has a lot to learn. So tell a story of an email client, CMO. She wanted to understand what the budget would look like and the impact would look like before a single dollar was spent. And what a gift to start having confidence that's data-driven rather than taking somebody's word for it. So Simulator is the new proof standard, and you can see it in the demo area. So you start with a goal in Simulator, like all things in Zeta. It has to have context if you are. I realize I'm standing in front of the screen. You go through and you can add things like linear TV that Zeta doesn't even have, but you probably have the data, and it will give you outcomes. It will predict all of these. You can either activate it, or you may have other steps in your organization, like maybe you want to move it into a proposal deck to share with your boss, and it generates the PowerPoint for you. Having trust in every single metric is the first step to adoption. Understanding your behavioral audience overlap is the first step in the conversation, because nobody wants to erode the great engagement they have with their best consumers. I'm really excited about Simulator, and we'll talk more about it, because I believe trust is the missing link in all of us adopting better AI tools. As we move from forecasting, we get into creative. Creative is a little bit the bane of my existence, because I have senior people walk up to me and say, hey, I'm on this platform, but it took me 4 weeks to update the call to action in an email, because they had to go to their creative team and they had to go to their coding team, and it's like Jira tickets galore, and that's no way to live. But what if creativity wasn't such a bottleneck? What if it was a multiplier? What if it can help you start thinking about new channel strategies? What if you didn't have to rely on weeks of creative work, but you could iterate really quickly? What if creatives had more integrated tools into the platform that they are authoring from? We want to help them get more done, because I don't know about your companies, but in ours and most of them I talk to, the creative team, they kind of get the short end of the stick. They don't get enough investment, even though creative is such a great expression of brand. So this is the new production standard, and it's based off of the workflows that I shared earlier. You start with instructions. This is a Friday win-back campaign. Pretty simple, and it can go through and start on understanding what dynamics need to go into your campaign, but it can also build the campaign for you. Single-shot AI isn't great at that, so we put it in an editor. Again, give it some instruction, then let me react to it. So this is a full WYSIWYG editor. You can go get a demo of it. You can engage with it. You can integrate it with Figma, because a lot of people love Figma. I love Figma. You can integrate it with your digital asset manager, and it brings out brand-approved content along the way. Then with a click of a button, quite literally the plus button up there, you can extend it to other channels and continue editing if you want to. This is an entire production workflow that transforms the way teams communicate and how fast they can engage with their consumers. The last step on this is moving from creative to measurement. What if measurement wasn't about reporting? What if it wasn't a destination? What if it's about improving everything you are doing in real time? And so we talk about moving from static reporting to adaptive. And one of the challenges I have is when I talk to some marketers, they feel like the report is their report card. Like they finally finished, and they did as well as they did last quarter, so they're good. Mom and dad aren't going to be mad. They got to be on the test or on the grade. We had a retail CFO that was talking to their marketing team for that business. Marketing is the revenue generator for them, and he's like, "Crap, we need more revenue." And they gave us a call. They said, "What can you do, Zeta?" And many of you that have worked with Zeta know that you can give us a call, and we'll get David Shea on the line, we'll get Neej, and we'll get it done. That's what we do. And we've got a technology way of getting that done as well to boost sales. So this is Performance Advisor, and I'm really excited about this being the bookend to simulation. So you simulate something, let it run, and then as the world changes around you, so does the Zeta platform. This is the new optimization standard, and it starts again with recommendations that are based on the goals in your platform. And you can add new goals. These recommendations will be very clear to you. It gives you the methodology, the standards that we use to get there, and then you can apply it. You can review it if you want to, or you can just apply it. And then you can see how these recommendations stack up with other recommendations, because this is a differential equation, right? Optimizations are a lot of variables you're solving for simultaneously. When you have transparency into all those variables and how they're contributing to real outcomes, which is revenue for businesses, for consumers, it's better experiences, then you have the trust to move forward and adopt more of the platform. These are 5 vignettes that I shared today because they worked well around the day in the life, but there's a lot of other impossible products that we are building. Some are very early, they're in internal beta. Some are amazing CAB members, saw yesterday in the CAB meetings. Thanks, guys. And there's more to come. It's a new way of building software, and we're really excited to be working with all of you to get it done. My third chapter today is about generative UI. I talked about us having to conform to software, but how brilliant would it be to have software on demand? And we will get to the point where we have single-use software. In the old days, you buy big enterprise, you buy SAP or you buy Oracle or something, you've got it for 10 years, you're buying seats to it. But in the future, maybe you've got a project and you just need software with a UI and with intelligence for the day or the weekend or the month. We will get there. The paradox I mentioned earlier is that for the last 20 years, enterprise software has asked us to work differently than we naturally want to. And like I did in the day in the life, we're imagining, what if software could just respond to human beings a little bit better? I think with the right balance of structured systems and intelligence and UI and the right infrastructure that has adaptive fabric to help with deterministic foundations, context, or what Roman would call intent alignment, we're able to do more. So should software adapt to should the individual adapt to software, or should the software adapt to the individual? This is a little bit like Tony Stark, right? In the old days, Tony Stark, in fact, when he was in the cave, if you guys have seen Iron Man video, he's got like screwdrivers and welders, and that's the way he does his work. And much like us, we forged our wisdom not in a cave, but with some traditional tools. And what we found is that the future is really about letting your technology build new technology, letting your AI system build new AIs, and letting that strong foundation that we've been working on for so long with the super graph, with contextual intelligence, with AI infrastructure, MCP services, and a bunch of other buzzwords about technology, just letting them work flawlessly and create better outcomes. To show this to you, I'm going to use a use case. This is a real RFP that we got a few months ago. Actually, the RFP that this came from is here today. I don't know if they're in the room. They are a global hospitality brand. They're actually travel and hospitality. They wanted to look at bookings across the globe, and they wanted to market to lagging locations. I wrote this slide a couple months after reading the RFP, but that was like their first paragraph. We are a global travel and hospitality brand. We want to track bookings across the world, and we want to market to those that are falling behind to drive more people into our hotels. Got it. There were about 60 pages that followed with more details that we had to respond to, but this is it. And it's fine. They're going to go into the RFP process, or they did, and they're going to see it the old way, the way all of you have seen it. You go into software, you build reports that monitor that stuff. You got to monitor them manually, and then you select audience develop creatives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You monitor, and this is the way things have been done, and that's fine. Some tools do it really well, and you can check the list for procurement. Some tools don't do it very well. But earlier, we talked about AI infrastructure, and we have this adaptive fabric. We've got all these modules in our AI infrastructure. We've got AI Shield that checks code quality. It checks brand guidelines. It checks PII compliance. It checks everything using both AI and deterministic data. We've got LLMs and MCP endpoints that know how to route and understand things. It knows how to understand goals. We've shown you goals a few times today. We've got the technology to build these things, and so it really lined ourselves up well for taking those things together and introducing generative UI, which is UI on demand. This is the next era and what people are really excited about, but they call it vibe coding. Has anybody in this room vibe coded today? Okay, everybody needs to go try vibe coding. It's awesome. But it's not going to build enterprise technology yet, because you need all of that foundational technology. And I'm going to show you an example of this. This is your ability to create an app with Athena. You can see a demo of it in the other room. It starts with a simple prompt. You create your own app or use one of ours, and this is basically the RFP input with a little bit of color. Give me a global heat map. That's how I want to track things. I don't want to build a report. After that, it starts to churn. Athena thinks about how to build it. It maps capabilities inside the product. Where the data is, it starts to pull it all together. Shield goes through and reviews the code quality and gets it ready for deployment. And then you have a UI that is what they actually asked for. Wouldn't that be amazing if we get what we actually asked for? Thank you. And so you go through and it makes recommendations on strategies, gives you recommendations on audiences, so you don't have to go find the people that are in Geneva. It'll go through and help you with channels. And when it's done in real time, you'll start to see those bookings increase. This is the future of the way technology is supposed to integrate into our lives, the way it's supposed to make things better. And it's also what our customers are asking for now, but technology has too long prevented us from accessing. All right, so one app. It's a good app, but it's not a revolution. An ecosystem of applications that can talk to each other and coordinate with each other and do more and more nuanced jobs simultaneously, like Tony Stark, you know, has got his somebody working on the glove and somebody working on the rocket booster boot. That starts to create a revolution. And so I'm going to introduce agentic workspaces. Agentic workspaces give us the ability to do lots of jobs simultaneously. Going back to the agentic apps from earlier, you can build them or select from your own. You may select a retention app. And that retention app looks awful on the screen, but you can talk to Athena about the retention app. It can do a job for you. But maybe you want to validate it against some data. So you open a data guardrails app. And maybe you want to look at a data audit to make sure that your retention data aligns with the way you've audited your business. Now you can look at those side by side. Both of them AI powered, both of them connected to the same foundation. And if you want a logistics app or a warehousing app, talk to Athena and build one. If you want to add a calendar, pull it up, and you get a workspace much like the Bloomberg terminal for marketing, which probably landed better with the investors yesterday. I think we'll call it the Steinberg terminal. And through workspaces, I really believe we'll get more done faster. And this isn't a far stretch. All of our customers that I go and visit, they've got like 30 tabs open in their browser, and they're trying to get a bunch of stuff done and going back and forth. And that's true of all enterprise software I see. So this gives them one command center for their whole lives. All right, we're getting towards the end, guys, and I do appreciate everybody standing in here. I've talked about this being one consolidated AI platform with infinite possibilities. I think with our new standards, we're going to see innovation happening faster than ever before. And I really believe this deeply. When software adapts to people, imagination becomes a limit. We've opened up generative UI to a limited group of people, and I cannot believe the applications they're building. The same thing happened when we opened up early beta to our agents. People started building things I never would have guessed. And thank God, how am I or one person on our team supposed to be responsible for all of your needs? We would never be able to meet your needs, ever. Ever, ever. Technology can. So I'm going to end with where I started. My good friend Neej, with a beautiful baby boy, 5 weeks old, said the revolution is here. And I agree. I really agree that the revolution is here. Every revolution starts with a paradox, but it ends with infinite possibilities. And that wisdom we spoke about that's been forged through fire, built and broken and built again. It's brought us Athena because we remained very focused on our standards and where we wanted to go. And together with many of you, with our clients, we will achieve the impossible. Thank you.